Hi there. Today I wanted to discuss with you the power of the employee resource groups. PNC HR, we're here for our employees, for our people, to ensure that we are providing them a culture that enables them to thrive in whatever they're doing and to be happy. And same as we've discussed before, mental health and wellness, the employee resource groups are a great way for us to stay in touch with our people, with our employees, and understand what kind of topics and mission are really important for them and their values in order for them to feel like they belong to the organization and have a purpose. Firstly, we shouldn't be scared about those employee resource groups. Actually, organizations should be able to enable our teams to have those conversations and to create those groups in a more free way. Some conversations may challenge PNC and some policies, but we need to understand that this is a healthy way of communicating and creating safe space to have a transparent culture. But during this past 2 years of being all over the world, most of us at home, we may have lost a little bit about our culture, our mission, our DNA. What is the culture of the organization? What kind of people do we want to be? What experience do we want our employees to have when they go back to the office, either fully or remote or hybrid? What's the experience we want them to provide? So during this time, because of COVID, we've hired a lot of people that may not be familiar with our employee resource groups. So it's a great moment for us to explain them. What are they? How do you join them? How do they work? How can you create new ones? You need to take this opportunity to see how those employee resource groups that existed before COVID and exist now, if they're still adapting to the needs of the organization. And always as PNC, try to connect them back to our mission and our values. Don't underestimate the power of explaining them again, sending an email around, or ensuring that everyone is aware where to find those groups, if it's in Slack or Workplace or whatever kind of chat or format you have, so that you can start recruiting more people into those groups. What I think is so beautiful about the employee resource groups, although sometimes they may challenge the policies and what HR is doing and really push organizations to be better, is exactly that you have a group of people getting together, sharing their time, doing something that has nothing to do specifically, maybe related to their day job for their organization, but really trying to help you, PNC, to be a better partner. And as the world changes and there's new things that really matter to our employees, we need to be open to have space for new groups. How do you create them? How will you be able to amplify them and support them to thrive? And maybe some groups that used to exist are not relevant anymore because the organization has actually included that kind of a rhetoric or whatever topic was relevant for the employees into the mission and the DNA. And maybe there's already a process in place, or even maybe you had a new head count for that kind of interest in that kind of topic. A great example, I think, is sustainability, where maybe initially it was something that employees would push and they will look into the micro experience within the offices. How can they be more sustainable and try to make it in a macro angle? And you have nowadays some organizations that are having actually a headcount for someone managing the sustainability within their departments and within the business. That's exactly what I think makes employee resource groups actually so beautiful, that the culture comes from the people. We can influence this as an organization. We need to give the space for that culture that we want to create by design, to thrive and to grow. But it's actually beautiful to see when employees are pushing the C-suite and the management level to be better and to drive change. Some of the resource groups that you may find could be related to LGBT+, diversity, to equality, to women, to sustainability, as we said. So really tap into all those topics that are relevant for your people and let the employees push those groups, take the time, and give them really the space to drive change within your business, having conversations with them. Maybe it's not something that you want someone within HR to own, but certainly you will need championships. And how we find those champions for each group, it could be someone within HR, which maybe it's a natural thing for your organization, but it also could be someone that is in a leadership position or has a team of people reporting into them in different regions. And that's really important, that whatever topic you discuss and whatever the group is, that people coming together trying to improve things, that you really have a spectrum of from different groups, from different teams and departments, so that those conversations are really enriched and impactful. Marketing person for Outbrain currently for the PNC team, everything's about communicating. How do you communicate? And so being able to lean into those employee resource groups, understand what the topics are important to them, what they're discussing, what kind of challenges they're giving each other, what kind of policies they really want to change, and always try to link them back to the values of the organization and filter them up so that the leadership understands them is a really important part of us people and culture when we're trying to really drive that change and support our employees to make some changes within the business. As we always say, champions don't come alone, and to have someone that is an ambassador of an idea, you need to provide them, we always say the same, you need to give them the space, the time to be able to do that, the tools, call it Zoom, Slack, whatever kind of tool you need. But also, we love data, right? We want to make data-driven decisions. Give them the right tools to be able to measure whatever challenge they have in their hands, so that they can measure impact and they can really have data to prove the growth that they've been able to bring into the business thanks to those initiatives. Aside of that, and reward, which is the one that I always like to say, sometimes we need to provide a budget, and whoever is the ultimately budget owner, if it's PNC or whatever department it is, it doesn't really matter. The point here is that sometimes people want to do a lot of things, they have great ambitions, and they don't know where to start. So the fact that you can provide them by the beginning of the year with a budget and you give them a number, that already will enable them to think big, actually to have the power to make those decisions where they invest that budget as a team. I think that is one of the crucial parts that makes a difference between an employee resource group that is actually driven by action and changing things, and those that are just maybe catching up once a month and really not coming to any conclusion and not having any tangible goal to achieve. We need to measure success, of course. Data, yes, but employee resource groups should not be something that is related to our performance review or any kind of financial compensation. It's something that we do in our time whilst we work and maybe in our working hours, but it's something that we're really passionate about. Why I'm talking about this group and these sub-communities that we automatically generate within organizations is because they're extremely powerful, and they're for PNC a great pulse to understand what does your employees really want, what are their concerns, what are they actually talking about when they go for lunch and coffee and that they don't tell you, or maybe they don't feel like telling you, even in your anonymous survey. For example, for us at Outbrain, it was really great to have some employees from the Outbrains for Equality group to reach out to me, ask us if we're going to be doing anything for Pride Month. We wanted to have some activities, we wanted to bring some learning, because one of our values is expand your toolbox, and there's always space for all of us to learn from each other, to have conversation, and we're going to have really exciting activities for Pride. But the truth is that it's when the employees reach out directly to us for help because they had ideas and they wanted us to support them to enable those activities, that it made total sense for us to tap into that and really support them to thrive in whatever they wanted to do. So same as I said, that we have to give time, we have to reward, we have to have champions, either from PNC or from the high level of the organization. We also need to give people the resources in the teams. If you're going to be organizing an event, you will need someone to support, to be ordering the food and organizing the happy hour, and maybe creating banners and having the budget to have speakers to come into the organization. So it's not a one-man band effort that you can have one person just pushing it. It has to be a lot of people that come together, give time of the day that is not spare because we're all really busy in order to make this happen. And so it really gives people this sense of belonging and purpose and really being able to make an impact. And the most important thing is our employees do feel that we listen to them, that we take their opinion into account, and that we're having a transparent way of communicating about those topics that really matter to them. I would love to hear from you and your organizations. What's your experience with the employee resource groups? If there's any tips and tricks that you can maybe share with us in the comment on how we can really nurture those groups even better and even more now that we're all going back to the office, so that we can encourage our employees to create new groups, to take the time to meet and to really drive this conversation that we believe that is just making all of us be a better place for our employees.